You have been cooking broccoli wrong your whole life, and it is not about the taste, but about a compound you are accidentally destroying. It is a compound so significant that a sitting US president once banned it from Air Force One, sparking a national debate about vegetables. Scientists spent years proving that the president was wrong to dismiss this vegetable, as it holds a secret that could change your health. The mistake happens in just 4 seconds. You chop your broccoli and toss it straight into a hot pan, effectively killing its potential. Right now, inside that vegetable, there is a chemical race occurring between an enzyme in your stove, and the stove almost always wins. When the stove wins, you lose access to something researchers have tied to detox support, inflammation control, and powerful anti-cancer properties. This is what we are exploring today. What actually happens inside broccoli in those first few seconds after you cut into the florets? A Johns Hopkins discovery about this exact chemistry ended up on the front page of the New York Times, changing nutritional science forever. It is fascinating to think that this breakthrough happened just a couple of years after broccoli became a national punchline in politics. Almost nobody tells you this part, but raw broccoli sitting on your cutting board is actually doing very little for your health. It provides fiber and vitamins, but the compound everyone gets excited about, the one behind the superfood status, does not exist in that state. It has to be made, and it only gets done one way, which is a detail that most eat your vegetables advice conveniently skips. It is not just about eating the broccoli. It is about how you prepare it, and more importantly, when you apply the heat. Get the timing wrong, and you could eat this stuff every day for a year and still miss most of the actual benefits. The fix is surprisingly simple, requiring no fancy gadgets or extra grocery store aisles, just 40 minutes and a standard cutting board. To understand why 40 minutes is the magic number, we have to travel back to 1992 to a specific lab at Johns Hopkins. That year, a pharmacologist named Paul Talalay and his team isolated a compound from broccoli and published their findings to the world. The compound was sulforaphane, and at the time, the idea of cancer prevention through diet was not really taken seriously by researchers. Talalay himself later noted that his colleagues did not see cancer as something you could prevent, so funding for this research was thin. Almost nobody was looking at vegetables as chemistry. But that did not stop the discovery from landing on the front page of the Times. It later made Popular Mechanics' list of the greatest scientific discoveries of the 20th century, cementing its place in the history books. It feels like it should not be true, but 2 years earlier, President George H.W. Bush had publicly declared his hatred for broccoli. He banned it from Air Force One, creating a strange timeline where a major scientific discovery followed a famous presidential vegetable diss. It was pure coincidence, but it certainly made for a great headline when the news finally broke to the general public. The research did not stop there, as in 1994, Jed Fahey checked something nobody else had bothered to investigate: broccoli sprouts. He looked past the mature heads in the produce aisle to the 3-day-old sprouts that most people walk right past in stores. It turns out those tiny sprouts held 20 to 50 times more of the sulforaphane precursor than mature broccoli does. It was a cool discovery, but it does not mean anything if the chemistry never actually gets triggered by the cook. This brings us to the actual mechanism occurring inside every floret, sprout, or full head the second you cut into it. Picture this. Inside every broccoli cell, 2 ingredients sit locked in separate rooms, waiting for you to make the first move. One is a compound called glucoraphanin, and the other is an enzyme called myrosinase, kept apart in an intact plant on purpose. When you chop, chew, or blend the vegetable, that cellular wall comes down, allowing the 2 ingredients to finally meet. Myrosinase hits the glucoraphanin, and in mere seconds, it converts the mixture into sulforaphane, the same compound Talalay isolated in 1992. No cutting or chewing means no sulforaphane, because it is not just sitting there waiting, it is made on demand upon damage. Think of it like a 2-part epoxy, which is harmless until the 2 components are mixed together by your knife. Now, here is the catch. Myrosinase has one big weakness, and that is heat, which wrecks the enzyme incredibly fast. If you chop your broccoli and drop it straight into a hot pan, the glucoraphanin stays, but the enzyme is deactivated. This often happens before the reaction has even gotten going, meaning you lose the chance to create the beneficial compound. Research on cruciferous vegetables confirms that cooking immediately after cutting tanks the sulforaphane yield compared to letting the enzyme finish. It looks the same and tastes the same, but chemically, you are eating a fraction of what you could have had. However, there is a twist that actually matters. Sulforaphane itself is much more heat stable than the enzyme that creates it. This means the problem was never really about heat, but rather a simple issue of timing during your cooking process. The fix is almost stupidly simple. Cut your broccoli and let it sit uncooked for 20 to 40 minutes before heating. This gives the myrosinase enough time to finish the job of converting the compound before the stove enters the picture. After that waiting period, you can cook it however you like, though steaming is gentler than boiling to preserve nutrients. If you forgot to wait, do not panic, because you are not totally out of luck if you have other ingredients. Myrosinase shows up in other foods too, such as mustard seeds, mustard powder, radish, arugula, and even spicy wasabi. Sprinkle a little mustard powder over your cooked broccoli to bring in outside myrosinase that never went near your stove. This can partially rescue the conversion right there on your plate, saving the health benefits you might have otherwise missed. So, here's where it all lands. Whether you get meaningful sulforaphane comes down to that race between enzyme and stove. The 1992 discovery proved for the first time that an ordinary vegetable could measurably strengthen your body's defenses against cellular damage. It was a claim that serious scientists had dismissed outright just a few years before, showing how much we have learned. Everything is locked or unlocked depending on whether you wait those 40 minutes before the heat goes on the pan. Cut it, let it sit, then cook it. That is truly the whole secret to unlocking the power of broccoli. Broccoli has been sitting on grocery shelves for over 30 years since that discovery, looking exactly the same the whole time. Almost nobody clocked that a 40-minute pause was the difference between an ordinary vegetable and a nutritional science superstar. It makes you wonder what else in your kitchen comes down to timing, rather than just the ingredients you choose. Broccoli is not the only vegetable hiding a reaction like this in plain sight, waiting for you to discover it. There is a whole world of chemistry happening in your produce drawer that you have likely been ignoring for years. Next time, we open another one up and see what other secrets are hiding in your everyday kitchen staples. The secret to unlocking the full nutritional potential of your broccoli is not a special gadget or a complex, expensive recipe. It is not about finding the freshest head in the store or using a specific knife. It is about simple, patient timing. Instead, it is a simple 40-minute pause that allows the hidden chemistry of the vegetable to fully unfold for your health. By chopping your broccoli and letting it sit for about 20 to 40 minutes before applying heat, you trigger a transformation. This waiting period is critical because it gives the myrosinase enzyme enough time to work its magic on the plant cells. Inside those florets, the enzyme is busy converting the precursor glucoraphanin into the potent health-promoting compound called sulforaphane. Without this resting phase, the heat of your stove would deactivate the enzyme before it ever has a chance to finish. Once this chemical conversion is complete, the resulting sulforaphane becomes surprisingly heat-stable, allowing you to cook it without losing benefits. You can steam, stir-fry, or saute your broccoli after this rest period, knowing the protective compounds are already locked in place. But what if you are in a rush and forget to wait? You are not necessarily out of luck or health benefits. You can actually rescue the process by adding a source of external myrosinase directly to your dish after it is cooked. Sprinkling a little bit of mustard powder over your warm broccoli provides the necessary enzymes to complete the conversion on your plate. Even adding fresh arugula or radish slices can introduce that missing enzyme, helping to jumpstart the reaction you missed earlier. This simple timing trick transforms an ordinary, everyday vegetable into a nutritional powerhouse, proving preparation is as important as the ingredients. It is a fascinating reminder that the way we handle our food changes its molecular makeup in ways we rarely consider. For decades, we have been cooking broccoli in a way that effectively silences its most impressive, scientifically studied chemical defenses. By simply changing our kitchen workflow, we can tap into the full potential of what researchers discovered back in the 90s. It is not just about the broccoli itself, it is about respecting the biological processes that occur when we break cells. This discovery fundamentally shifted how nutritionists view the relationship between raw produce and our body's own internal defense systems. It leaves us wondering what other hidden chemical reactions are waiting in our kitchens, just a few minutes of patience away. We often focus so much on the flavor profiles of our meals that we overlook the microscopic dance of enzymes. Understanding this timing allows us to take control of our nutrition, turning every meal into a more intentional, health-conscious experience. So next time you reach for that knife, remember that the clock is just as important as the heat you apply. A little bit of patience on the cutting board is all it takes to turn your dinner into a true superfood.